What is up, my peeps? Joshua Smith here with another GSD Mode podcast interview. Every single week, we interview top entrepreneurs and just straight up top badasses out there dominating their space. So people choosing to not live a life of mediocrity, but instead to go out there and create big, amazing, epic lives for themselves, their families, as well as have a big impact on others while they exist. So today, you guys got another rock star, amazing guest on the show. So this is a dude I've known for several years. This is a guy that was a very successful real estate agent. Then realized that his true gift was in social media marketing and created a massive successful company now where they run social media ads for realtors all over the United States, and maybe even beyond the United States, which I guess we'll find out here shortly. But really stoked and honored to have James REMBERT on the show, my friend.
How are you, Coach?
Yeah, now stoked to have you on, man. We've known each other for a while, right? When I first met you, you were a real estate agent, and just watching you and expand, adapt, shift, really find it and identify what your superpower is, and then now your company's just on fire, dude. It's pretty epic to witness and watch, man.
It's getting there.
Yeah,
it's a big thanks to you. Overall, I mean, just the mindset shift collectively that you helped build up really helped make those decisions. So I just really hope anybody that's a part of your coaching understand shit goes beyond real estate. It's all life.
Yep. Couldn't agree more, man. And before we get into that, because we'll dive into all of that and what that like moment was where you had that internal epiphany, if you will, of hey, I'm trying to create all success in real estate. And you were doing very well in real estate, but then you just made this shift, right? Which is, which again, we'll get all into that. But before we get into that, man, I'm always intrigued in our guest journeys that led them into entrepreneurship in the first place. So like, how did this whole journey start? If we run the clocks, like how did it start in the first place, dude?
The funny part is I've never had an official job. Like I've always kind of made money for myself. Like when I was, and then, you hear the cliche entrepreneur talk, like lemonade stands and all this other stuff. I actually used to take cases of candy and take it over to New York and sell it. I still remember 2 for $3, 4 for $6. So we used to sell it for, and on a Friday, a Thursday, Friday, because those were the days that I could really, really operate out there. I would make anywhere between $400 to $500 a day. Then we started taking people on T, which we called the territory. So I would, buy the cases for $15. Case would kick back, I think about like $115 after everything was said and done. They kicked me back $35. The rest they got to keep. So, and from there it evolved. I moved from that area because it was now this is the funny part. I mean, I grew up in Jersey City. If anybody know about Jersey City, that's like it's like gladiator school. You want to give a term to it. And I can remember coming home and you stopping on a corner and you talking to everybody and cops pull over and the whole situation kicks off. Now I just got off T. You know what I mean? Now keep in mind, it's a lot of extra stuff happening on the corner that I'm not really involved with, but my money kind of connected to, okay, these dudes is doing something off. But you got like $400 in your pocket. How did you get it? Me say I'm selling candy sounded insulting. They took my money. I told my mom, she was like, no more going on T. And that spearheaded to, I had no way to really make money. I was young. It wasn't like I needed the money. It just was a way to make money. And I can remember, you remember Kmart? You ever seen the Kmart's?
Oh, yeah.
Kmart's, we was in Kmart's one time, and they had like these cases of cookies, and they were like $1. And we were next to this area called Bayonne, and picked up I got some money from my mom's, and got like 10 boxes, and I wanted to test it out, and I was like, hey, Ma, can you take me around a corner? She was like, well, what do you want to do? I want to see if we can sell some of these cookies. Bought 10 cases. She took me around a corner. I sold my first box. I didn't leave until I was done selling all 10. And then we did that until Kmart ran out of the cookies. So that lasted maybe about 3 months, and it just spearheaded from that point on.
So what led to even that though? Like what created the drive to even think of selling, buying these cookies and selling them? I mean, did you have somebody, or whether it was like a mentor through like a TV show or somebody that you knew or that you were kind of trying to model after? Like, how do those dots even connect at a young age?
You know what? My dad, I didn't want to be trapped. And my dad would work. He would go to work, like leave to go to work like 3 o'clock in the morning, come home like 4 or 5 o'clock at night. And we never really had time to really connect. Like, my dad was around, but he wasn't around type thing. But I knew what he had to do. And I was like 5 days a week. And then Friday nights, he was a pastor. So he ran the church. So Friday nights, he was at the church. Saturday, he had a little bit of time to be back at the church all day Sunday. And maybe innately just in that area, I kind of got obsessed with time. You know what I mean? Like, I really started seeing, I didn't want to do that shit. Like, you was not going to lock me down for, all day and, and can't properly maneuver. Like, he had no time for anything. Like, and I think some of the things that he did, like, he didn't do anything wrong, but his passion was what I viewed as nothing. He was happy sitting in front of the TV eating peanuts and watching the baseball. That was his life. Work, baseball, church. That was it. You know what I mean? I can probably count. I went to the movies one time with my dad, and he sat behind me and went to sleep.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And I never wanted that. And I can't say that was like the driver, but I was always obsessed with time. Like, I was always trying to figure out like how to squeeze more time out of everything I do. So even when I went on T, I knew if I got there before 6 o'clock, I could catch people leaving the office and catch them on the streets of Manhattan to sell candy. Now, if we got there after 7, it was a graveyard. But then we knew if we kept it up between 8 and 9, if we didn't get the sales done between 5:30 to 6:30, we got candy to sell tomorrow. So, for whatever reason, time became like a crazy, like, obsession to me, just almost innately. And being able to maneuver how you want kind of started factoring. And then the older I got, the more I started to process everything in the sense of, I got this amount of time to do this. I got this amount of time to move here. And collectively, it wasn't, and I would love to say that it was like an entrepreneurial gene. It wasn't. I didn't want to be broke, and I didn't want to spend all my time doing it.
Yeah. 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 It almost sounds like, whether it's conscious or subconscious, it was, probably at a young age, I think all young boys want to be around their father, and you saw your father never being around, but then you observing his lifestyle, like, again, conscious or subconscious, you're like, hey man, I've got to be able to invent a better way to go out there and do this. And you start doing that and proving it. And then we find, with a lot of entrepreneurs, they had a young experience or a young path of entrepreneurship or early on success, but then they allow the domestication of society to get to them, where it's like, oh, I do, like, we're all conditioned, man. You listen to your teachers, you listen to your parents, you listen to your coaches. Then all of a sudden, boom, you got to go to this college, pick this career, and, become the sheep, if you will, for the rest of your life, which is the path most people follow. So I find a lot of entrepreneurs end up getting sucked into that path because they feel like that's the thing they need to do, and then rediscover, whether it's because they're miserable, whatever, they regain that path back to entrepreneurship. Was that a similar thing to you, or like, was it always just boom, straight up going out there and making your own money in your own path?
Always. And I think, and I base it just on the ignorance of, I didn't process no the same way. You know what I mean? Like, I always viewed no as the worst they could say to me is no.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So it didn't matter what we had to do in reference to, any ideas and concepts and things that I wanted to do. I didn't really have doubt because I didn't really care about the no. And I've always positioned myself that, I'm pretty self-aware, if you want to say that. So I've always seen when I was younger, I've always seen myself as my greatest fan club. I wasn't arrogant or ego-driven. I just had a different perspective on what I wanted. And not to say that I was super clear, but I knew there were certain things that I didn't want to do. So, as I got older, I started to realize, pain and power comes from the same place. You know what I mean? And maybe the pain from me not, because my dad isn't emotional at all. Like, I've seen my dad cry once, one time, and little things he would say to me, and so it kind of stunted me being emotional. You know what I mean? But there were certain keynotes that I knew I didn't want to do. I knew for a fact when I had children, which I have 4, I have 3 boys and 1 girl. I would not be. It wouldn't be a point that I don't invest the time and engage. Not just like if we at the park, we all at the park. It's not just like, hey, go and run. Like I'm on the swings, we riding bikes, we in the park. Like I'm in kid mode at that point. And really, like I said, I can only adapt that back. Now my mom was around, and my mom was a soldier. I'll put it like this: if the Black Panthers existed at that time, she would be.
Yeah.
It was, my mom was the truth. And when I say on the truth, we knew that if you couldn't get the proper attention from dad, mom was there. She took me out. She, connected me with these different, she was the first one to put me in front of a computer. It's the funny part. That's the funny shit. Like, I can remember she used to use the DOS, and she used to do data entry, and the whole screen was green. And, when she got to points where I could put yes or no, that's where, like, she used to work for Panasonic, and the yes or no buttons. So she was like my first introduction to, I want to say, technology. And I was always intrigued with how things worked. You know what I mean? Like, I would tear shit apart. Like, I would get new stuff and I would open it up. So a lot of things that I do, it's just the reverse process of it. So, I mean, I really believe a lot of things that I do now is because I didn't have, and I didn't grow up poor. I just didn't, like I said, I just had a different process. So, my dad his love was different.
Yeah.
So it forced me to, and now I know that. I didn't understand that at the time, but it gave me a strength that I think a lot of kids don't have. And I don't know if it was intentional. I know it wasn't intentional. It wasn't intentional, and I could have went a different route. Like, my brother did go a different route. He couldn't process, everything that was going on. But whether that's the case or not, but he went left, I went right. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like, my sister's always had a job. I've never had a job. You know what I mean? And the jobs that I did have lasted a day. Like, I was like, man, I can't do this shit. Like, like, I'm going. Like, I remember doing a security job, and he was like, you got to stand for 8 hours. And I'm like, okay, cool, I can do that. And in the first 10 minutes, was like, man, I can't do this shit. Like, I just left.
Yeah. Well, I love what you said, where power and pain come from the same place, right? Like the pain that you felt with your childhood, not that it was bad, but you had enough pain of like what you knew that, like, you felt that you needed, what then you didn't want to deliver as a man in the future with your own kids, and that became your power. And a lot of people, they operate from this victimhood mindset where they're blaming everything on their circumstance and saying, hey, here's the cards that I was dealt, and this is the difference between winners and losers. Winners, this is the cards I was dealt, let me go out there and play the best hand. And like I said, like, using that pain to become that power, and it just sounds like you were self-aware enough at a young age to be able to use that as a driving force, right? Which is amazing, man. All right. So you've got this at a young age, right? You're always out there hustling, figuring out how to work, be an entrepreneur and pave your own path. What leads you into real estate, dude? Well,
real estate came about because I guess the misconception that every agent probably get, I'm gonna jump in and get rich. You find out that shit is different. And I, you know what? I love real estate overall as a collective. I like the idea. I like meeting new people. My background is in visual communications and design. I love seeing the just new houses, and meeting people was really the highlight. You know what I mean? Because it was growth, and I was always, I grew up in a place where you covered everything. Like, you don't tell everything. Oh, no, you can't tell me what you got. No, you don't share that. No, you know what I'm saying? So to be around people that was willing to embrace, like, hey, I quickly learned that when you provide value, nobody sees color anymore. You know what I mean? So, it gave me a whole different perspective on getting in front of people. And what made the shift was the real estate agents. You know, I got so tired of the narcissistic approach and the egos. That shit started to drive me crazy. And before I got jaded, I just figured I would start to step back. But as I was stepping back, I was already walking into my passion and things that I was like, really, like, I love marketing. I mean, like, I'm obsessed with marketing and nuances to technology. And I love that shit.
Yeah. So, but I know you created success in real estate to lead you to the path that you are now, right? Yeah. So it wasn't one of those things where you jumped in real estate, you got so turned off that you just bailed, right? So it's like, walk us through what it was like when you got started and, what you did to create success. And then ultimately what led to, because what were you in real estate about 4 years before you went to your path now? And it wasn't because you left because you were a statistic that wasn't successful. You found a way to create massive success, but then you're like, hey, the reason I'm creating success here, which is my true passion, now I can go show others how to create that same success.
Exactly. I mean, even before I got my license, I did some investing. We did pretty well in investing until the bottom fell out. And I mean, the biggest project we had a land development we were doing. It was 36 acres. Halfway through the project, and realized that we had more land than it was worth. And that put me like at rock bottom. I'm talking about like I was at zero, nothing. Like, hey, mom, you got room for me and the family type situation. Yeah. And from there, collectively with my wife, we grinded it out. And when we made the transition to get into real estate, I knew I was good with people. Like, I got two ways with me. Either you like me or you don't. The gray doesn't exist with me. And we clear that up immediately. But I think I'm a pretty likable person. You know what I mean? And I understood at least the core concept that if they want to buy a house, I know I can engage them enough to get them to buy a house. And my very first year, I did bad. Like, it was horrible. I'm not going to front like, I killed it the first year. I think I sold maybe to 2 people in a midget. Like, I didn't do anything the very first year. And I linked up with this broker called Raymond Fury, which I'll never forget him. And I jumped on his team, and he kind of really, really just started to, take me on in reference to, no, you should do this. And he didn't push me. He didn't push me in the sense of, no. He kind of synced the hustle in me and was guiding me through. And, my second year, we ramped up pretty good. By my third year, I was able to kind of calculate that I ramped up to about 10 million in sales. And my second year hit 10 million in sales. My third year, we ramped up only to about 13 million in sales. That was about my peak. Last year, just out of part-time, because we were building out the agency. I just decided to go full-time with the agency. I think I tipped about 6 million in sales just part-time. And that was when I started to understand, in my second year is when I really, really started to get a grips of what Facebook was starting to do, the capabilities of it. And that's when all the different platforms was popping up. You know what I mean? A lot of different channels, but the ROI and just the at that time, everybody was screaming micro-target, at that time, really start to adapt that into my business. That was the needle that tipped the scale for me and got me in front of more people, because I didn't know when I started selling real estate down here in South Jersey. I started in North Jersey. I knew a lot of people in North Jersey. Year 2, year 3, I didn't know anybody. Like, I moved down to South Jersey where I knew nobody. Everybody I met was new. And it was interesting because, it's not complicated to sell real estate. And when it comes to when you have the person or you have engaged the person, and I quickly picked up, I wasn't selling real estate anymore. I was selling me. And from there, between year 3 going into year 4 is when we started making that transition. And because I was doing so well, I started interacting with a lot of different people. And, it's funny because when you start connecting with people, the question is, how are you doing this? Because I don't know you. You know what I mean? It's like, you're not this, you're not that. And I was always low key, you know what I mean? Like, even when we started because year 3 is when I started to build out a team. And I put somebody in front of me because I didn't want I really didn't want the attention. Like I said, I think that came mainly from my background. Like it's always, oh man, I'm sorry about that.
Yeah, you're good. You're good.
I'm sorry about that. And year 3 is when we started building out the team, and I built out a small team just to help out because I was on a team from year 2 going into year 3, started building out my own team. But I put somebody in front of me just to kind of crush down the noise. Like I have no. It's funny when I say it to people, but I really don't have an ego. You know what I mean? Like I was cool with the shadows. Like I was okay with just spell my name right on the check. That's all I cared about at that time, you know. And it gave me room to really start working on digital natives. And then going into year 3 is when things really started to ramp up, and I started to get in contact with more people. And then people would ask, like I said, what am I doing? I started teaching classes at just all these different brokerages. Like, hey, this is what I'm doing. And it was like alchemy. Like, I'm like, this is what I'm doing. Like, look, it works. Like, oh, they were more in tune or more embracing the perception of I know than execution. And that shit amazed me. Like if you know, then you should be using. You know what I mean? Like it just amazed me. And it was more, they liked that concept. But the I guess the osmosis side of it all, or the connection at every class I would teach, people would be like, hey, listen, I hear that. How much do you charge? And I had no answer for it. And finally, my wife was like, listen, you need to give them a number. And I gave my first number. And when I seen that they accepted it, every time I did a class, I started giving numbers. And we started out with a low number. And as I got better in it, we started putting premium price into it. And it quickly helped us create the core values of why we don't work with single agents. Because single agents have, one, some of them going from deal to deal. You know, a lot of them don't understand, they don't have the proper infrastructure to take on a heavy influx of leads. And we just completely shifted from, we don't work with single agents, either you're a team or a broker, or you have a real business that can sustain, or real business that have the back and that can sustain the lead flow that we're about to pump away.
Yeah, love it, dude. Love it, man. Yeah, I mean, what's so cool about this is, I mean, you obviously you dialed your business in. You went from 2 homes your first year to 10 million to 13 million. But
that wasn't a lot of listings either. That was predominantly buyers.
Yep. So, but what I love about it, I mean, I love all of it, of course, but dude, I meet agents every day that are like, hey, Josh, I'm getting asked to speak at these classes or speak here, but they have this scarcity mindset of, I can't give this information away, you know, right? And the best things that have ever happened in my life is abundance, you know, like with the boot camp, you know, that I know you went through, and like with Perfect Store. I mean, all of the things that make me way, way more money than my real estate company that I'm still involved in today, came from operating from a place of abundance. So you would have never had these dots connected if you didn't operate from a place of abundance and eliminate that ego, you know. And I bring this up because I think that's so key, man. It's almost impossible to connect the dots and see what the demand is out there unless you're willing to share your gift with others, you know, right? Like, what would you say to that?
I mean, we're the only. Real estate is the only industry that we have to cooperate with our competitors. You have to, you know what I mean? And, you know, it always tripped me out, the scarcity mindset that so many agents have when they say, well, I don't want them to know, or I don't want them to use. There are a lot of components that are connected to real estate overall. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a whole lot of things you can do that a person can take and actually just like this is all mine. There's nothing proprietary about what we do. You know what I mean? That's what I'm saying. And agents, I mean, and I think it falls back to the low barrier to enter. I think, you know, 2 weeks to become a professional, you know, you don't really know what that entails. You know what I mean? And the scarcity mindset is heavy, but I think it falls in tune with the ego and the narcissistic behavior collectively. So I think it's just a collection of things that people take on, but the abundance of it all, at this point, and, you know, we really understood, and I really started to understand that the more I can teach a person, the better questions they can have. And my sole purpose at this point is to improve the industry, at least in my space. You know, like if you know what you can do with Facebook advertisement, I'm talking about definitively no, not on some, you know, you go from ad to landing page and, you know, let's just target this cold audience. Like when you really understand audience segmentation and pixel isolation, all this other cool stuff that you can do, your questions become much better. And I think the industry as a collective can improve. But we got brokers selling agents the same bullshit of here's a card, here's your phone, you know, go knock on some doors. You know, it's just amazing. And even when I took the class and I was doing the mega open houses, people would look at me like I was crazy. Like it was bugged out. Like, man, you putting out like 30, 40 signs. I was like, yeah, that's the process. Like, and then they would see the traffic that would come through. And now keep in mind, I was generating leads from Facebook. I didn't remove what works. You know what I mean? I just added to it. I improved on it. And that scarcity mindset comes into play because no one wants to evolve. Like they want to stay stuck. The nostalgia in this industry is like mind blowing. Like they love this shit. Like, oh, well, here's my card. You know what I mean? And that's a key thing that I don't know if people know or not, but if you guys ever see, there's a video that Josh got where that shit hit home with the no card situation, where it positions you to be more reactive than proactive. You know, it was so many. I'm about to start harping on you real heavy because I mean, there's so many things I picked up from you, but I gotta keep the answer, keep on. But the scarcity mindset is because they don't want to evolve into the nuances. And yes, some of the things that we do work, but I don't think they're willing to take that chance. So when all you got is this, what do you share? You know what I mean? Like if it's all you got is this, you can't share. You're not positioned. You're not even in the posture to share yet. You know what I mean? And that really says, I've noticed a lot of people that when they have like a strong business, abundance is easy to them. You know what I mean? And I guess it would be easy if you have so much, but just as a collective, I think that's just something that should be taught in the industry because we have to cooperate with our competitors. That makes the transactions easier. It makes the process, like this business does not have to be complicated at all.
Yeah. And it isn't, you know, like, and you already said this, but I mean, not just the real estate business, all business is simplistic. It's when we get in the way of our own selves, like we end up complicating the process. Right. And so let's kind of go tactical into Facebook, right? Because a lot of people sit there and say, oh, Facebook doesn't work or Facebook won't work in my market or Facebook doesn't work in luxury and works here. Like I had a dude on the podcast last week. Massive luxury agent, the number one agent in New Hampshire, and all he sells is like 3-4. Biggest sell, you know, a couple of years ago was $12 million, and he is so deep into Facebook. And I only do two things, right? So like this year, I mean, as we're recording this podcast right now, it's November 2nd. 2017. I've sold 611 homes year to date. My team has, and we do two things. We do mega open houses and we do Facebook, right? And a lot of them coexist because my mega open houses, I run Facebook ads and I'll generate 30, 40 leads before I even do my mega open house. And so a lot of it coexists, but we just get dialed on those two things. I hear it constantly, Facebook doesn't work, open houses don't work, which obviously, you know, you and I both can prove wrong there. But when it comes to Facebook specifically, because that's what you've evolved to when your agency, I don't know if it's just Facebook specific, but online social media advertising. Kind of walk us into like, what did you start doing in your real estate business, and then transition that into like what you're doing today that's killing it for real estate agents on Facebook?
Well, I mean, of course, the basics of ad into a landing page is key, and the reason why, and you know what it is? It's the disciplines that a lot of agents don't have. You know what I mean? Simple as hyperlocal. We have three core components: hyperlocal, relevancy, and omnipresence. You can take those disciplines, you will absolutely win. And hyperlocal consists of pick a zip code, let's talk to, let's see if that zip code is even seasoned to take on advertisement. And we run numbers. We make sure the absorption rate makes sense. We make sure the turnover is there. I mean, I don't care if it's $1 million market or not. If it's only 6 homes selling, we're wasting our time trying to advertise there. So we look for the proper turnover to see if that area is even seasoned for advertisement. Then the next stage is we completely cut out the agent in reference to, we're going to talk to the community because we're going to give only relevant content. So we build out a community page, not just the typical, but we start to connect with all the community pages that have consistency with that particular page. Now we're sharing content. We're not hoarding anything. Yes, in description-wise, we stay compliant, but we start to connect with the community. Facebook rewards that. And that's the thing that people don't understand. People misinterpret the internet as being, a bunch of numbers and algorithms. And, the internet is me and you. The internet is community-based. Facebook understands that. And when you can start connecting community, not just geographically, but understand that when you're talking to whatever you're selling, that person, Facebook starts to reward that and start to really pump up the algorithms behind it. They support that heavily. Now once you start to get that cycle going, one, by a byproduct, that alone will start to make you omnipresent in that community. When you start to run your ads, you're almost guaranteed to get in between a 9 and 10 relevancy score as long as you keep that message consistent. And we don't go out there and pump out. We tell every client, well, I want to do this and put my picture here, and we're not putting your picture nowhere. Be the agent when you get them on the phone. Right now, only thing we're providing is relevant content and pure value. And that's when you start to win when it comes to Facebook, because I'll say, in this year, I can even jump even closer. In the past 6 months, the intelligence that the algorithm has gotten in Facebook when it comes to the objective is absolutely insane. Like, the objectives are precise now. If you want traffic, you're going to get traffic. If you want conversions, you're going to get conversions. If you want engagement, you're going to get engagement, and it doesn't cross anymore. Well, you used to run an engagement ad and get people clicking and generating leads from. That's not happening anymore. They're going to get you pure engagement now. What we start to do is understanding how these conversations work. Same thing, community. We start to take the engagement and we create that social proof for like a full week. We take that we start to hack, and I don't want to get too techie, but we start to hack that campaign. We pull that post, that ad post. We tie it into a target or a traffic or conversion, and now you don't even have to do a traffic ad anymore. You can go straight to conversion, set it so when you get the 25 pixel flyers, Facebook will automatically shift your campaign straight into a conversion ad. So, I mean, the intelligence of what it can do is just, it's insane. But again, taking the time to understand what these components are. I mean, it's only 3 components in an ad. We have ad, objective, the objective, ad set, and ad. You know what I mean? That's it. We got the ad, which is, what do we want Facebook to do? We have the objective, who do we want them to talk to? And then we have the objective. Finally is I'm getting ahead of myself. Finally is the ad. That's the creative. What do you want to show? And when you start to run out there and be an agent right in front of people, no one's interested in that right now on Facebook. They want value. And you can discredit, even you can be the best agent on the planet. You can discredit yourself because people are looking. I mean, if we really, really want to be serious about it, 1, price rules when we're selling a house. And 2, everybody knows an agent. Everybody. So to see you like, hey, come to my open house, or come see this house, or look at me, I sell X, Y, Z houses. Everybody's number 1 too. So I don't even know what that even means anymore when people say, well, I'm number 1 in my market, whatever. But people see that, and now you discredit yourself where a person would be interested in your offer. They're not going to move forward anymore. So, just that core basics of, before you start to run a campaign, know your numbers. Find out, and you should, and they just should know that. We should know what the absorption rate is. We should know what the market turnover is. I don't care if you love this community. If those numbers don't make sense, then you're wasting your time running or building out a campaign to even try and drive any type of lead generation to them.
Yeah. And I agree with that. I mean, because to me, real estate is all about geographical farming, right? And most of the real estate community, they hear geographical farming, they think of direct mail. I'm like, no, dude. I mean, it could be open house, it can be Facebook ads, it could be a combination of so many things, but it's identifying the right area that you want to dominate market share in over time, right? So like in my price point, it's different than every price point, but the three things I'm looking for, number one is my ideal client moving there, who I connect with the best, who gives me the most repeat referral business, who I enjoy working with, right? Are they moving there? Number two, in my price point, because I'm in like that 250 price point, I want to see a 10% year-over-year conversion rate. Right? If it's below that in my price point, it doesn't work for me. Then I go into market share, dominance of market share. If I have more than one agent with close to 20% market share, whether it's a subdivision or a zip code, I'm trying to find an alternative. So then I've got my ideal clients moving there. I got the turnover rate that I need, and I have the openness of getting in there and becoming the dominant agent as quickly as possible, hopefully, right? Identifying those things, and then you start, whether it's direct mail, open houses, or Facebook ads. I mean, I couldn't agree more, man. I mean, people they just try to blanket this shit. They just try to scatter it and blanket it and
yeah, the discipline of it all. Like I said, when you say hyper local, it triggers. It's like, oh yeah, you're right. And then you say, well, what areas you want to focus on? And they're like, I want this city. No, that's too big. I need an area. Give me a zip code.
Yeah.
And they don't. A lot of people aren't comfortable with that at first. You know what I mean? Because they're like, my office is so much bigger, and I understand that. But what we're trying to do is we're trying to position you here, and we create that butterfly effect. But we have to get a starting point somewhere to start to position you to be omnipresent. We can spread abroad. Well, let's start here. Now, you tell a person, and then you go deeper and like, listen, just off 3 zip codes, we can generate from a $500 ad spend about 200 leads for you. Now, will it all be quality, or will it be some junk? Of course, but what we're doing is we're positioning you, one, to be omnipresent, and two, multiple opportunities. We're trying to get you out there, but we need the discipline to start somewhere first, because we can't talk to the whole city yet. The whole city don't want to talk to you yet. Well, let's talk to a neighborhood right now.
Yeah. Well, even on the numbers that you just shared, right? If you have a 1% conversion ratio, right? One client acquisition for what, $200 ad spend or whatever that breaks down to being. I mean, you go out there and bang out the average price point across America. That's $7,000 to spend $200 to make $7,000.
Conversion is 3 to 5%. When you have at least an 8-point follow-up sequence, 3 to 5% that you can convert your leads into, a potential deal. But again, it's the discipline, and the discipline overall is, it's just mind blowing that they don't have it. Even just doing video, you say, well, you know what, this is a great campaign. Like, we got this video view campaign, and we don't use the pixel at all for it. We jump it through 3 different videos, and then we slam it inside a messenger bot. And now the person can talk directly to who that end consumer is, because one, they engage with the messenger bot, and two, they booked an appointment like with Calendly or something, or, like we can talk directly to them. It's amazing. It's kind of mind blowing that you say, well, we need videos for this. I don't do video. My man, you do realize they're going to see you eventually, right?
Right. Yep. Yep. Yeah, get over it, right? Get over yourself. Yeah, no, I agree with you, dude. So, real quick, when it comes to the chatbot, I mean, is this something that you guys have created your own chatbot, or are you using something like a mini chat, or is it mini chat?
Yeah, mini chat. I mean, right now we haven't really seen any real ROI with the chat box. It's just a great way to push people through. It's just a component inside the funnel collectively. It's a great way to end it off. Especially with Facebook having the ability to make calls now. We use software like Loom for video emails, which is a really cheap. I mean, it's free, and it's a video emailing tool that we use as an extension to Google Chrome. Of course, you got the Facebook chat. I mean, the DM. So to connect people, I mean, the same concept of talk to people where they are still exists. And these components are given, like sometimes we talk to people, make the call through Facebook, it tripped them the hell out. Like, oh man, I didn't know you could do that. It's a big phone right at the top. Like it's right there. You know what I mean? But I mean, of course, I don't expect everybody to be aware of it. But as an agent, we are a belly-to-belly business. You know what I mean? We connect with people, and we forget that concept that we are supposed to not sell a house, connect with the person. When you lose that concept, the connection, that's why you struggle. You're killing yourself, and you're trying to sell. You can't sell a house. Stop it. You know, you might as well fall back with that, because at the end of the day, price rules, and sometimes we become just glorified keys. As insulting as that may sound, sometimes that happens. You know what I mean? But the connection that we can do with Facebook and with messenger bots, we like how that engagement goes, because it puts us in front of real people. You can't fake a messenger bot. You can avoid the conversation after, but you can't fake that you clicked it. And it's permission given. It's not like it's forced. You know, like they're clicking and saying, hey, we will be sending you the information through DM, you know, and you know, you and they say yes. So it's not like it's a trick. They're expecting something from messenger bot. And what the bot does, we make the messenger bot have 2 sequence touches. We welcome them, and then we offer whatever appointment scheduler that's there. And it's up to the consumer or the agent to pick up that conversation after the messenger bot talks. With 2 ways. You can say, you know, hey, I see that you booked the appointment, and just welcome them and be real engaging. Or they can finish the conversation. Hey, I see you didn't schedule your appointment. Any reason why? Or, you know what I mean? So it's just a great way to connect. But we haven't really seen any real ROI from that directly.
Yeah, love it, dude. So, all right. So you got a realtor that they've identified their area. They grasp that they've identified the area. And then from there, you really have there's multiple components, right? You gotta generate the Facebook lead. You've got to have the follow-up sequence. And then, of course, you've got to be dialed enough on your skills to be able to close that appointment and do a client and you know, take on your realtor hat and do that stuff. But assuming that a realtor knows how to conduct an appointment, close the appointment, go out there and sell a house or sell them a house. So then from there, generating the Facebook lead and then the follow-up sequence, if we were to really dial those in, because it sounds to me, and correct me if I'm wrong, it sounds to me like you guys start with some type of an engagement process, whether it's traffic ads or whatever that you're doing, and then doing some type of retargeting and do a conversion ad to then get them as a lead. And that's how you get a cost per lead down. And then you have the follow-up sequence. But when it comes to the Facebook ads specifically, can you just elaborate, maybe give an example of a strategy, you know, for a realtor that you're working with right now that's working really well for that?
The easiest ads to build out is syndicated sites. You know what I mean? We take, instead of and it's the same thing. It's funny that we're so okay with Zillow, with Zillow and Trulia using our information, but we won't use it ourselves. You know, the syndicated site is the easiest site to start to create some type of stamp inside the community, and you never have to turn it off. You know, and what it is you give the property that you're selling to the end consumer through Facebook, you know, in reference to this is the property. Of course, we're going to give the address. We give a front-end image. And those type of campaigns never have to stop, which we start with those because they're easy to digest and they're super cheap. Even if somebody that doesn't know anything about Facebook, they know their property. They know their listings. If they don't have a listings, they can borrow a listing. You know, so those are like the starting point that we do to get the campaigns going. So we build at least 3 campaigns that we really never shut off when we start to work with a client. That way, we're just banging out, you know, just leads. We're solidifying pixel data, because pixel feeds the, you know, if you're not using a pixel, then you just dead in the water. Pixel feed, you know, the audience. 75% of the conversions do come from the retargeting. Now we can be creative because we created now an audience to start to segment who we're talking to in reference to different regions. You know what I mean? You know, per zip code, you know. But that's the original starting point, and anybody can do that. Anybody can take a listing. And what I did, you know, what we did was the funnels are simple on that side. It's a 2-pager. You know, here's the information. Here's where you opt in. Here's your offer, period. As simple as that. And from there, you know, the main thing for that we do is, one, to create just the engagement to find out how the consumer is interacting with the particular campaigns. Because when you start to do syndicated campaigns, if no one is clicking it, then we need to figure out why. You know what I mean? So now we may shift that off to something like a guide, and we don't position guides in the sense of information, because information is in abundance. We try and give value. So those are like the easiest campaigns to start. But the syndicated campaigns are where any agent should be starting with. And it is the exact same concept of what you're doing now. You're letting Realtor.com, Zillow, they're using your information. Why don't you take that back and you use it for yourself? Now, instead of them clicking Zillow, they're clicking your campaign and talking directly to you.
Yep. Yeah, I couldn't agree more. I mean, it's, I think for the agent to survive long term, we must learn how to become our own Zillow, our own Realtor.com. We can't keep feeding them. And two, just on a selfish ROI perspective, why the fuck would I pay Zillow $37 or $45 or $50 a lead when I can do the same thing for $2.50 or $3? Or if I'm on a small budget, dude, I mean, I've had it where I'm like 7 cents a lead on a very small budget. Now, when I'm spending 10 grand a month, it's hard for me to get under $3, a budget, because as you scale, it seems to be a little bit more difficult. But yeah, I mean, we've got to go out there and do exactly what you said, man. Just become your own Zillow. And what they do is Zillow just gives them what they want. They're giving them the property information. So you get a website, has the IDX, gives them all that information. And here's what's cool. You can reverse look up all Zillow ads, all Realtor.com ads, see what they're doing that's working, and then just apply the same thing, but drive them to your site, get eyeballs in your site, get them to register, and then have your follow-up protocol. I mean, it's
impression costs of what Zillow sells you. I mean, they don't sell you leads, they sell you impressions. I mean, from Facebook, you get 1,000 impressions for like $2.
Yeah.
And like it's, in Zillow, that's like $50, $60. What is it? It's 300 for 10,000 impressions. What kind of shit is that?
Yeah, that's a joke. I used to be like 16 grand a month deep with Zillow. But that's when so this was, I can't remember how many years ago, maybe like 5-6 years ago or whatever. I could be wrong on that. It might've been further back, but it used to be on cost per click, and they switched it into impressions. And I went from like $14 a lead to like $45 a lead overnight. And you're locked into a contract. You had, no choice in the matter. But as you said, power and pain and power come from the same place. They end up being a blessing, because that's what woke me up to realize, man, I can't be vulnerable. And at that time, then, Google pay-per-click was the juggernaut. So I learned how to do my own Google pay-per-click. And then Facebook disrupted where now Google pay-per-click can't compare to Facebook. But it's the same concepts. You got to learn how to fish for yourself. Or if you're not going to fish for yourself and learn this stuff, I don't know what your ad spend has been for you, yourself, and your clients, but I'm sure it's been in the millions, right? And I spend, well over $500,000 a year. So like guys like you and I have been forced to learn this stuff. But if you're not willing to learn this stuff, go hire a company like yours. It'll still be, the ROI will be 10x what you can get on ZillowRealtor.com, even if you're paying a company like yours.
Hands down. I mean, the unprepared will always get abused. So I mean, and it goes back to the beginning stages of, unfortunately, the leaders in these offices don't know. What I mean? They don't know. They don't have the proper information to pass on to tell a person that, Facebook is the internet. Google pulls their data from Facebook now. I mean, they're in the position of data aggregation. Like, who else has the information that Facebook has? I mean, they're telling you shit you did 5 years ago. Like, hey, remember this? Here you go. Look.
Right.
Like, what other platform is doing this type of information? Even just geographically, you tell somebody, Facebook know where you are right now. It's like, no, you didn't. No, they don't. When do you turn Facebook off? Well, whoever logs out. So the position that they're in is pure data aggregation. And if you can really, really embrace that, the limitations of what Facebook can do for your business is absolutely limitless. I mean, we got a guy that we've been coaching for going on about 7-8 months now. He's going to close the year at over $250,000 in gross profits. This is his first year selling real estate.
Yeah, it's crazy.
It forced him to build a team. Did he build a team right? No, but he needed help to take on the influx of business.
Yeah.
You'll get it right. You know what I mean? You bump his head enough, you'll get it right. But, the potential of what your business can do, it doesn't have to be feast or famine in this industry. And that's the that's the poorest thing. That's the weakest mindset I've seen in the industry, because they prepare in our fourth quarter. Oh, it's going to slow down for me, so let me start stacking. No, this is when you ramp up. Like, we had a client just 2 weeks ago, no, a week ago. He reached out and was like, I'm going to hold off until January because it's about to be dead. And I'm like, dude, this is when you ramp up. Like, how is that even logical? This is where everything stopped. This is when we kick in the gear. Like, my man, you don't need to fight for a lion. You just need to open the cage. Like, unlock the door.
Yeah.
Like, unlock the door, man. Let us go to work. Limited mindset. He couldn't see that. He seen the bill. It didn't make any, and he was closing deals too. He just seen like, oh, what it would cost for this fourth quarter. I'm gonna ramp back up in January. That's if the doors are open in January for us. You know what I mean? Like, we're not. I hate to put it like that, but you can't just whore us out. Like, we may not be available for you in January.
Right. Yeah, it's it's funny because I just did a weekly team meeting this morning, like 2 hours before you and I jumped on this webinar, and we just had that conversation about the holidays. And I'm like, you have 4 days, during the holiday season that are really like, Thanksgiving, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, right, New Year's Eve, whatever, or New Year's Day that people take off. And I'm like, but the industry gives that excuse to take 60 days off because of 4 days, right? And yes, if you look at the MLS data, there are less sales, but you got 90% of the industry taking it off, right? So, what you just said is the exact conversation I just had with my team is that is pedal on the metal time. Yeah, there's less sales, but there's way more business to be had because you have so much less people working. And then too, during the holiday season, people that are looking are way more committed, right? So that for me, whether it's recruiting or on the buyer seller side, man, we ramp up, it's like 3X time, with that. So I couldn't agree more, dude. And then, all right, so let's just say a realtor's like, all right, I'm going to either, hire your company, or I'm going to figure this Facebook stuff on my own. I'm going to identify the pixel or and I agree with you, in the boot camp, as I mean, I'm heavy on getting your pixel installed, getting it right. Like for me, like just say the boot camp, I'm getting ready to do another boot camp that launches November 27th. I have 2 webinars that I do. 2 different webinar topics. In each campaign, I built out 90 ad sets in each campaign. Each ad set, also split testing different photos and different ad copy. And it takes me, 4 hours per campaign to set up. But if that pixel didn't exist, right? Because you can sit there and say, okay, women on their mobile news feed between this age group, this picture is what works well. So I can shut everything else off, right? Men, desktop right column, this topic, this ad copy, this, right, shuts off. So it can make the difference between paying $15 a lead to paying $2 a lead. So and then the retargeting capabilities, and there's so much with it. So, but let's just say they get all that dialed in, or to even choose, like I said, to go out there and work with a company like yours, but the agent still has to jump in on the follow-up campaigns. And I'm guessing that this is why you work with teams, right? Because an individual agent doesn't necessarily have the time or the focus to follow up to get the high conversion rate. So they're not going to see necessarily those results compared to, like, I have 2 ISAs on my team that 12 hours a day are grinding on that lead follow-up. So talk to us about then, like, agents always think leads solve all their problems. And I'm like, it's the ability to convert those leads to appointments. You need leads, but if you don't convert them and have a follow-up sequence, like, you're just pissing away your money. So talk to us about the follow-up sequences that you guys recommend, that you do, that your most successful clients are doing to create success with that.
Well, the very first thing we do is we do want our clients to understand the initial contact should be in the first half an hour. If you get in the first 15 minutes before they forget what they filled out, is always great. Right behind that, we create an 8-point sequence, right initial. As soon as it goes out, we have 8-point touches prepared for an email sequence to come behind it. Behind that, we tie in texting. video texting, and then we try to encourage the client to get involved into email videos, which is extremely powerful. On top of, let's talk to the consumer natively where they contacted you from. You can make a call from Facebook, so if you don't want to use the phone, make that call from there. And if it doesn't connect from there, at least engage with them via a DM. Now, sometimes they give us fake information, so it doesn't always happen like that unless we're doing something like a messenger bot. But we try and really, really tighten the noose when it comes to the follow-up sequence in reference on our side, because the goal is to create the re-engagement until the agent can get them to at least on the phone or till they get to the point of conversion. So the 8-point touches are super important because we want to, in between that first week is like fire week, you know what I mean? Because that's when they're pretty much the hottest, then we fall into week 2 and it slows down a little bit. But with the pixel capabilities, we're able to position that message back in front of them. So whether it be, a half a contact, whether name and email or full contact, we want to re-engage them with a whole new message behind it to position the agent to, now you can be an agent because they're warmer now. And that's of course, that's the power of the pixel. And depending on what type of campaign we're running, would make sense of what type of sequence we're running. Because we have, like I said, we have a video view campaign that it takes the consumer from, and this isn't, we don't even really need the pixel from here. We use the connection between the video. So the first video gets a 50% audience built, and then we put a video behind that. And then after the second video, we put a 75% audience build. And if the person makes it to that third video, they don't watch 1, 2, 3 videos of who you are. And that third video, you can be the agent. Now you can get more in depth of who you are and take them into some type of conversion in reference to scheduling an appointment, filling out your funnel, moving forward in the conversion side. So it really depends on what type of campaign we're running. But we have follow-up sequences from 8 days on up to 300 days if it needs to. And we really steer clear of the 300 situation because that's more just that's just to keep it going. You know what I'm saying? Like that's almost like a courtesy, if you want to say, because if you didn't make a move in 300 days, 365 days, it'll happen, but it's just to keep you top of mind at that point. But that's when you want to tie in, nuances like, pure value inside your community pages, positioning them with information that will be relevant to the community that they seem that they were engaged with, So the follow-up sequence really will determine what type of campaign we're flowing. But if an agent can create at least a 5-touch sequence, they have a higher chance of converting that lead. And I'm not talking about just, I got to get them on the phone. Yes, that's the end all be all because we want to get them on the phone. But if you can make that connection at some point, whether it be email, texting, video, email, Facebook DM, Facebook, you just need to touch them and get in front of them. That first 5 days is super important to make that connection. And if they miss that, then this is when we come in and we pick up the ball also to keep that. Because the goal is just to re-engage them. Like I can't convert them. I got to put them back in front of you. And we let everybody know we're always passing the ball back to you, passing the ball back to you. But, from that, just even that part of not working with a single agent kind of speared us into a few more things with the company. So the follow-up sequence, if an agent can get them in the first 5 days, at least touch them. I'm not saying convert them. I'm not saying take them out. Just touch them to see at least that you exist. That conversion ratio that just skyrockets because now you can manually take them to another type of sequence.
Yeah, I couldn't agree more, dude. Your average Facebook, if we look at your average Facebook leader, 6.7 months out from wanting to meet with an agent. But there's no reason that you can't have that immediate conversation. Lead from a place of contribution, develop that relationship, develop that connection, identify their time frame, and then have another protocol and platform to put them on. And if you do your job, you are going to convert them. And I don't give a shit if somebody's looking to buy tomorrow or sell tomorrow or in 3 months, 6 months, 12. Because, dude, even 2 years down the road, I'm not going anywhere. right? Eventually that funnel is going to build up and those people are going to close. And, like our follow-up sequence I have a 1,000-day follow-up sequence. Well, it really goes indefinitely because we have a ton of mass stuff that we do. But when that lead comes in, right, they get a video, email, text, these are autoresponders, but an email, autoresponder, a video, email, text, a call within 5 minutes. Then we hit them with another 3 video text messages and another 6 phone calls. So again, a total of 6 phone calls in the first 14 days. And then 4 video texts. But it's all of that engagement. And I don't know if you've experienced this, but I don't necessarily get a ton of people off of video text that are saying, yeah, I want to work with you off the video text. But it doubles our call answer ratio. And then when we get them on the phone, the relationship's already there. They already feel like they know us. So it's such a warm conversation.
Yeah, when they see the video, it's more of a shock factor. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
People forget that marketing, the key to marketing, one-on-one in marketing is just to be memorable.
Yeah.
It has nothing to do with anything else. You know what I mean? You're not trying to be accepted. You're just trying to be memorable. So when you do little things and nuances like a video text or really video, it's really, really interesting because you can almost pre-frame that end consumer that if they even like you, they may not be interested in you at first. You know what I mean? And it one saves you a whole hell of a lot of time running after a person that they just want to use you to see this one house, but they don't like you or they're not interested in you. So it really pre-frames the person that if they're interested in working with you as a person or just interested in you as a person, it helps that conversation. If they like you or you can really engage and tap into that epiphany bridge in your video, win hands down. And again, it's just mind blowing that the agents that don't embrace video, video is an extremely powerful tool for us in the industry. The reach that we can, the things that we can do with video, especially if you're willing to, to take the time to be authentic, be who you are, and give value. But most agents don't come from that place of contribution, so it shows. You know what I mean? Bullshit shows through the video. You know what I mean? It does. As much as people think no, my man, you got the personality of a glass of water. We got to step this up. So but it's just they just need to embrace that, and it hurts to see that because it's the misconception that so many agents have about the industry is crazy.
Yeah. Yeah, I couldn't agree more, dude. The next best thing from being face-to-face is video. It's like my wife and kids just went on vacation. I had to stick back in town because I had a bunch of work stuff going on and an event I was putting on. But for a kid's fall break, they're back in Michigan. I'm not getting on the phone with them. I'm not emailing them. Dude, we're FaceTiming. It's the next best thing from being face-to-face, whether it's with a client, a lead, whatever it is, it's so powerful. I couldn't agree more, dude. I know we're going super long on time, and I could pick your brain for 3 days straight on this stuff. But those that are watching, that are here right now, because I know the vast majority get so intimidated by this stuff because it is. The reality is, dude, it is a massive learning curve, right? If somebody wants to get to the level that you're at, and I don't want to put you and I on the same level because you're I do very well with it, but you kick my ass, right? So but I do pretty well with it. But I will say, it took me spending hundreds of thousands of dollars, right? And I was having success out of the gate, but to really get it really dialed in to the point where I felt like I'd somewhat mastered it. It was several $100,000 of tweaking and learning. And I get that a lot of realtors aren't going to take that time. Plus they don't have the personality like you and I, where I'm guessing you sounds like you're wired just like me, where we can sit behind a computer for 12 hours and we're just obsessed with funnels and systems and processes and learning this stuff. If somebody though is just screw it, dude, I don't want to go through the learning curve. I just want to work with you, James. I want to work with you, with your company. I've got a team. I've got a brokerage. We've got a good ad spend. We want to kill it. Where's the best place, dude, to learn more about you, to get in touch with you, to go out there and sign up with your company? Where's the best place to do that?
Well, it's cool that you said this because we broke the company up into three tiers. So we have the Facebook advertising side, and then we have the marketing side, which we call those omnipresent campaigns. which that consists of visual communication and, just original content. And then the third tier is we built out an entire coaching course where I consult. Right now, I think we have about 62 people that's inside the coaching course. Everything about my business is inside this course. Every part of every campaign we do, everything in reference to what Facebook is doing. We do weekly strategy sessions where we get on video and I go through, bottlenecks of what this person is dealing with in reference to their campaign. I'm pretty accessible in the entire process because I would teach a person this stuff for free. I just don't want them to waste my time. So we put a premium price on it just to remove we got a no dickhead rule. We tell them, so anybody that's interested in coaching with me, they have to talk to me first to see if they've been qualified for it. But that's the best area when it comes to a person that really want to learn this stuff. I give everything we're doing in reference to digital natives. And what people don't know is, Facebook daily, every day, Facebook is running between 15 to 17 platforms of Facebook daily. Every day, they're testing on us every day because they're in the area of data aggregation. So Facebook isn't growing, it's actually evolving. And if anybody's pushing content that's not evolving with Facebook, you're wasting your time because in 6 months, it's going to be irrelevant. The principles will stand, but the methods of what you should be doing will be gone. Like it'll be almost obsolete. So we evolve with the content. Like we're throwing in new content inside hyperlocal. It's called hyperlocal domination. We evolve and with the content just about bi-weekly, putting that stuff in there. So if you're not a team or a brokerage, and I don't want people to think that you have to have a lot of people, you have to have that structure for me to work with you. If you don't have the team structure and a real business, not this is a hobby or, this is part-time, you have to have that structure for us to take you serious and take you on as a client. If you don't have that, you can absolutely learn this. And I move in the spirit of abundance. Like anybody that coaches with me, I have people that from agents to agency builders that are coaching with me directly that knew nothing. The agency builders knew nothing about the real estate industry. And I got a female that 30 days, she's killing it. She's generating for her clients, in 10 days, 40, 60 leads. They convert into leads. These leads are turning over because the real turnover, when you understand the market, the real turnover happens and it can happen in the first 60, 90 days.
Yep.
When you understand the market. But we got people that's inside the course, and I'm a big advocate on results. Forget about the talk and the chatter. I let the people that's coaching with me talk about it. So if you go to my website, it's jamesrembert.com, and I put something special together for everybody that's here. /GSD. It'll take you straight to a landing page where we normally charge $2,000 to coach with me. I cut that price in half. Still got to talk to me though. Yeah. There's no, I'm just going to pay and get it. Like we actually stick by that no dickhead rule because we have a really strong culture inside the group where people that are learning, you got people that are engaging. Like we move with everybody is introduced as family. That's how we connect inside the group. But just on that page, you'll see some of the results. You'll see some of the reviews. You got maybe about 10 or 15 people that gave video testimonies that'll tell you what they've done in reference to their success level. If they really, really want to learn this, I have a no bullshit policy if you coach with me. So this isn't pink and fluffy. I'm not mean spirited, but I remove the bullshit and we get to work. If you really want to learn it, let's go to work because I don't have the time to waste, and I dedicate the time to make sure that everybody that coaches with me wins. There is no, well, I'm trying. What's the problem? Let's fix it. Let's get to work. Now let's win. You have to be producing results. It's a must. It's not, you can't be lurking with me. So just know, unfortunately, I had the luxury of coaching under the Mr. Get It Done right in front of me here. I operate in that same spirit. We remove the bullshit. And if you really want to learn, that's one of the areas you can go to. And if you want to talk to me about hiring digital natives, we can definitely have that conversation. If you got the budget, we can always talk. But we always teach, but we always focus people on, they need to learn. You can hire me, but I suggest for you to learn it. But like I said, if they go to jamesrembert.com/GSD, I cut that price down to 50%. So it's like $997. So you don't have to call me asking for the price. If you call or talk to me, I talk to people that's really decisive, and we determine if you're a good fit or not.
Yeah. Love it, dude. So, and what's cool about this, those that are watching and listening, is, James went through the 90-day mastery bootcamp, obviously created big success in real estate. Second year in the business, 10 million in gross volume sales. Third year in the business, 13 million, right? He didn't exit the business because he wasn't making it. He exited the business because he realized, hey man, I got this superpower over here that's dominating my real estate business, that can help so many others, and the demand was there, and he followed his passion. But the other cool part about it is, because James wasn't just part of the boot camp, he was part of the alumni, and we worked together for before you made this transition. It was like well over a year, right? Together. Yeah. Right. So, I mean, the business, obviously, the content that I teach, and combining with that, I mean, the beef I have, because I've worked with a lot of the other ad agencies because my whole thing is, I know this stuff, but it's still fucking time consuming, right? And for me, it's just not a good use of my time to spend a couple hours a day, where my time's worth, $2,500 an hour to do this. But when they don't, if you hire an ad agency that doesn't know your industry, from my own personal experience, I'm telling you right now, they are going to fail. And I've hired ad agencies that are $6,500 a month to work with, plus a percentage of the ad budget, the best of the best. And I haven't gotten results because they didn't know my industry, right? So James knows real estate, obviously, and I'm guessing that's a huge part of your success. Not only do you know Facebook, but real estate. And you combine those two, boom, game over. So love it. So make sure you guys take action on that. We'll make sure wherever you're listening, watch and listen, that link will be right below. And I truly appreciate it. I had no idea jumping this that you were doing that offer. So that's massive appreciation to you, man. So I know we're going long on time here. Those that are watching and listening, dude, are here because they want to go out there and create an epic, amazing life for themselves and their families. And they want to go out there and do what you've done. Before we hit the record button, we were talking about our love for real estate and how real estate, because both you and I got into real estate, not necessarily to go out there and grow a massive real estate companies, is almost a stepping stone. And I still have my real estate team, but it's transitioned to so many other opportunities. I make way more money outside of real estate than I do in real estate. I still do well in real estate, but there's so many just brilliant things to learn, and it's such a brilliant stepping stone. And with all that being said, man, do you have any last words of advice or inspiration that you'd like to leave our listeners with so they can go out there and kick ass just like you're doing?
Yeah, definitely. In this day and age, this is such an amazing, there's a lot of shit that's happening collectively, but we're living in such an amazing time that fortune follows speed now. If you're willing to execute fast, you can course correct at any point without really damaging who you are. But the first thing you got to do is, doubt will always be a traitor to you. It will always betray your ideas. It always tell you you can't do. And I am living proof that what this particular vertical can do for your business, it's absolutely limitless of where you can take your business. What other platform you can honestly engage with the person, and if you honestly invest the time, you can be a 7-figure situation before the year is out, hands down. As long as you're willing to dedicate and commit to, your craft and getting your message in front of that particular person, even if it doesn't have to be perfect, not at all. So remove that doubt, because doubt will always be a traitor to your ideas. It will always betray your ideas. And right now, what we need to really embrace is fortune does follow speed. It's not about getting it correct now. Just get out there and get to work. Because at the end of the day, either you really take this to heart, or you will always be in that position of feast or famine.
Yep. Powerful words, man. One of my favorite business books of all time is Ready, Fire, Aim. Right? Everybody's trying to ready, aim, fire. And it's just like, no, man, you go out there, you take that massive, just exactly what you just said, man. And you're going to get things right. You're going to get things wrong. But a lot of times we learn more on what we got wrong, and then we course correct and eventually get them right. And Such powerful words, dude.
I live by two philosophies, man. Like when your back is against the wall, you can either get through it or you can get better.
Yeah.
Choose to get better.
Yep. Love it. Love it. So those watching and listening, I know I end every podcast with this, but information without implementation truly is just the start of delusion. Information isn't power. It's taking that information, taking massive action on it that gives you the power to go out there and create the life that you know you want and deserve. And James shared so many amazing pieces of advice with you guys today. Take something that you learn, go out there and immediately take massive action on it so you can go out there and create the life you know you want and deserve. And again, those links will be right below wherever you're watching and listening. We'll have that link that'll take you directly to James' site where, again, you can save 50% on the coaching if that's the route you decide to go. Have a conversation with James to see if you're fit to go out there and run your campaigns for you. So definitely take action on that right away. And James, man, I know we're going on about 90 minutes here on this podcast, dude. So I truly appreciate you taking time out of your busy day to be here, man. This has been a lot of fun, dude.
Oh, thank you.
Yep. All right, you guys. Well, thanks again, and we will see you next time.